Good afternoon and welcome to the 42nd meeting of the Honolulu Liquor Commission. Please silence all of your cell phones, and if you're appearing today, please introduce yourself and your client and spell your names. And if you're here to testify on any matter on the agenda, please come forward, be sworn in, and identify yourself. With that being said, I'd like to recognize Councilwoman Fukunaga. Welcome, nice to see you again. Thank you for coming. Moving into the public hearing, agenda item number 1, application number 19-15235 from R International Inc. Mr. Luke.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. To my right is the General Manager, Mr. Takaaki Nakajiva. Spelling has been provided. In the record reflect Wayne Luke of Council. We have no additions to the liquor license investigators report. They have been open for the last 2 months and they've had a special license for the last 2 weeks.
Thank you very much.
With no problems.
Very good. Ms. Harai?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. This matter has been continued from the April 25th and May 2nd meetings, public hearing kept open in order to address the 28157C3 timeliness of filing issue and allow the proof of mailing to be on file and available for public review for 7 business days from the date of the public disclosure of the late proof of mailing filing. I will report to the Commission that no member of the public has requested to see any of the proof of mailing materials. This application has received 0 written protest, 0 letters in support. Applicant has met statutory requirements for the submission of this application.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to testify for or against this application? Seeing none. Commissioners, do you have any questions or type of action?
Motion to approve application number 19-15235. Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 1, application number 19-15235 is approved.
Thank you.
Mr. Luke. Calling agenda item number 2, application number 19-15236 from Jungle Bar LLC.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, with respect to this matter, it is a matter continued from the May 2nd and the May 9th meetings, public hearing kept open. In your desk folders, you have a letter from counsel for the applicant requesting a further continuance to the May 30th meeting. For your action, please.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to testify for or against this application? Seeing none, Commissioners, can I have a motion to continue this matter and keep the public hearing open, please?
Motion to continue agenda item number 2 to May 30th. Public hearing kept open. Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 2, application number 19-15236 is continued to May 30th with the public hearing kept open. Calling agenda item number 3, application number 19-15430 from Resort Trust Hawaii LLC, DBA signature at the Kahala.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
afternoon.
Chair Avery Matra on behalf of applicants Resort Trust Hawaii LLC doing business as signature at the Kahala. With me is General Manager Gerald Glennon, GLENNON. I do not believe a supplemental report was generated in this matter.
Thank you very much. Ms. Harai.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. This application has received 0 written protests, 0 letters in support. Applicant has met statutory requirements for the submission of this application. And for the record, a summary of the March 21st preliminary hearing testimony was provided to Commissioners Ganaban and Lee prior to the public hearing.
Thank you, Ms. Harai. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to testify for or against this application? Seeing none, Commissioners, do you have any questions or type of action?
Okay. Motion to approve application number 19-15430. Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 3, application number 19-15430 is approved.
Thank you very much.
Calling agenda item number 4, Transfer application number 19-15731 from Pint Size Hawaii Manager LLC. Good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Christina Ohira. That's spelled O-H-I-R-A. To my right sits Ms. Sandra Hamada. Her last name is spelled H-A-M-A-D-A. She is the manager of the applicant.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, we have questions? Commissioner Miyashiro.
I have a general question, Ms. O'Hara. Can you just walk us through all the transactions, because I studied your papers. There's a lot of different companies, entities, members and of different LLCs. Walk us through what are you trying to accomplish?
So we're just applying for a transfer of liquor license from Kiahuna Distribution to Pint Size Hawaii Manager LLC. The transaction, the background provided in my letter was just based on questions from the previous hearing, but essentially the assets of Kahuna Distribution were purchased by Pint Size Hawaii. Pint Size Hawaii is the owner of the business, but to manage day-to-day operations, it is engaged a management company, Pint Size Hawaii Manager, so that it can really focus on the individual locations and be familiar with the liquor laws and to more effectively, carry out the business. Because the owner, as you can imagine, is really more concerned with the overall business and not focused on the day-to-day, and we want somebody to be responsible for following the rules, and we think that sort of attention is best handled by having a management company in place.
Okay, that's helpful. What entity is going to be in possession and control of the licensed premises if we issue or approve the transfer application?
The manager entity is in possession and control of the business premises.
And that's Pint Size Hawaii Manager LLC?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, Commissioners?
Motion to convene into executive session.
Second.
Then moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, we are now in executive session. Okay, we are now officially back on the record. Commissioners, do you have any further questions of the applicant or any type of action?
Yes,
Vice Chair Min.
Ms. Ohira, it's noted in the investigative licensing report that the term of the management agreement is 5 years, correct? Okay, so because this is out of the ordinary, normally it's the business owner that is also the licensee. So we don't have an issue of a management agreement that is bound by a term. So what would happen if that agreement, that the 5 years is up and the agreement is not renewed?
So, just generally speaking, if the term expires on its own, the agreement would technically continue on a month-to-month basis thereafter, just as a general principle of contract law. But in terms of if the management company did not want to be the manager anymore, then it would notify owner, and that's why we submitted the addendum with our supplemental letter, so that the management company is obligated to transfer the liquor license either back to owner or to the new management company, and remain responsible until the transfer is approved by the Liquor Commission.
Okay, and so what I'm worried about or concerned about is that the management company, if we approve it, would be the licensee, but not the owner of the business, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if the term expires and is not renewed, the management agreement term, then now we have a licensee that is separated from the actual business owner. And so that can cause issues of management, issues of compliance, And I want to feel comfortable that those issues are not going to occur and cause some sort of safety hazard or
Oh
what have
yes, so that would not occur. That was the whole point of the addendum was to try to show that we've thought about that situation and that the management company would not just either up and leave and cause a huge snag with the business, or even that the owner would willy-nilly fire the management company. Something that I think would make the commission more comfortable is to know that Pint Size Hawaii is the owner of the business but is also the sole member of the management company. So there is an interest in continuing the relationship. So I don't think that would ever occur. But if it were to occur, then there's a procedure in place where at no point in time would the business be unlicensed because the manager entity would stay on until the transfer is completed.
Thank you.
Any further questions, commissioners? Type of action?
Motion to approve application number 19-15731.
Second.
Then moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 4, transfer application number 19-15731 is approved.
Thank you very much for your
Calling
time.
agenda item number 5, transfer application number 19-15898 from Sung Young Hee, Miss Wu.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Min Young-woo on behalf of Sung Kyung-ri doing business at the Sunshine Market. On my right is Sung Kyung-ri, who is the owner, applicant. There is no corrections necessary in the investigation.
Thank you very much. Commissioners?
Motion to approve transfer application number 19-15898.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 5, transfer application number 19-15898 is approved.
Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 6, application number 19-16279 from MNS DBA ABC store number 202.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and Chair. My name is Labella Romualdo, LOBELLAROMUALDO, authorized agent for MNS Ltd. And to my right is Scott Shimogawa, SCOTTSHIMOGAWA, Executive Vice President and Director of MNS Ltd. No changes in investigative report.
Thank you very much. Commissioner, this is for a retail general license.
Okay, motion to approve application number 19-16279.
Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 6, application number 19-16279 is approved. Commissioners, I'd like to take agenda item number 12 out of order. Calling agenda item number 12, Joy Luck Inc., DBA Mauna Kea Liquor and Grocery. Mr. Harrison. Point of order. The Commissioner would like to recognize the Honorable Mayor Kurt Caldwell. Thank you for coming, Mayor. Appreciate that. Okay,
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission. Bill Harris on behalf of Joy Luck Inc., DBA Mauna Kea Liquors and Grocery. And to my right is John Kim. He's the president of Joy Luck. His last name is K.I.M.
thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the Commission, and Ms. Hirai. Deputy Corporation Counsel Monica Choi on the record.
Thank you very much. Mr. Harrison.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for you. We received this copy of the notice of hearing here, and it's part of the show cause, and it appears to allege violations of statutes and rules, but does not address which violations, which dates, and which times. And it appears to me that what this attempts to do is to come in the form of a petition against my client's license. And I think that sort of put the cart before the horse here, because the show cause order alleges that his license is in jeopardy, but does not specifically give him notice of what he's done wrong with the dates and times. So if that is the object of this body today, then I would oppose proceeding in that manner, because he has not gotten notice. And I'd ask for continuance, and I would ask for Corporation Counsel or the Commission to specify in detail specifically what you're seeking and the basis for what you're seeking.
Thank you very much, Ms. Choi.
Our notice of hearing was served on April 26, 2019 upon the licensee, and in the notice of hearing it states the basis for why the licensee should show cause as to not have its license suspended, revoked. So it gives sufficient detail as to why we have been receiving complaints against the licensee, and there's no prejudice to holding the hearing here and now, because we have a lot of people here ready to testify, members from the community, the neighborhood board, police officers and such.
Good.
And again, we'd oppose because we believe that this does not give Mr. Kim proper due notice of what he is required to respond to. There's allegations in here of anonymous complaints being made. There's other allegations that are general in nature as to crimes being committed outside the establishment, which he has absolutely no control over. We need specificity to respond to these. So I'm going to ask if this matter is going to go forward as a petition, and it be properly addressed and drafted and served upon my client as a petition, and that we have continuance of these proceedings to do that. And we understand that that a license is a privilege. However, he's gotten a license. He has due process rights under our laws to defend against allegations such as these that are general in nature. And so we're asking for specificity, and I think that's the least that you can give him as a licensee.
Thank you, Ms. Choi.
The licensee is not proceeding under a petition for the revocation or non-renewal of license or such. This is really an opportunity to allow the community to testify and give this commission information as to why they think the licensee's license should be revoked or suspended, not renewed. So there's really no prejudice to holding this hearing on the order to show cause. And the statutes in the Liquor Commission allow for this. I mean, it's really giving the licensee an extra opportunity of due process to be heard.
And Mr. Harrison, if I may.
Yes.
I appreciate your recognizing the fact that having a license to serve alcohol or liquor is a privilege. The Commission does take the allegations seriously, but as you also know, the rules of evidence are relaxed in this administrative hearing. We view this as a fact-finding opportunity to, as the prosecutor mentioned, to give the members of the public an opportunity to share what they may have saw, heard, and so forth, and give you and your client an opportunity to respond to that. And if not at this moment, there, as I understand it, there will be another opportunity.
Well, the problem here is that we're not prepared to go forward because we don't know what the allegations really are here. We have a general idea of what the complaints are of the community, but we need dates, times, etc. for us to defend against this. Okay, we need to be able to respond appropriately based on specific instances, not general conduct that's happening outside the bar. And we would note that, number one, the liquor store, we'd note, number one, that Mr. Kim cannot control what happens on the streets of Chinatown. I've been given some pictures today of people who are sitting and drinking on Pauahi Street and other areas of Chinatown. If there are, for instance, video of individuals committing crimes on the street and they have the pictures of these individuals, then it's the duty of the police department to address those concerns. If there's violations of law, then the police department addresses those things, not my client. So these general allegations really don't give my client much specificity to actually present a proper defense, and that's what I'm really getting at here. If you want to, we can go ahead and have a hearing of this nature, but I would prefer to have it once he knows what he's facing, basically, and to respond appropriately.
Okay, I appreciate your response. Again, I think we're here to do fact-finding and allow members of the public to testify in terms of what information they might have to shed light, not only for your client and yourself to respond, but for the Commission to understand whether your client is acting in a professional, responsible manner in compliance with the laws and the regulations.
Are we entitled to examine these
Okay,
witnesses?
excuse me, Mr. Harrison, okay, we are an administrative commission, not
I
a court of
understand.
law, okay? So I will deny your request, I will allow the public to speak on this matter and listen to what they have to say. And if the commission is so inclined to grant you a continuance, then so be it. Okay, so calling, we have some people that have signed up to testify. I would give the honorable Mayor Caldwell an opportunity first, followed by Councilmember Fukunaga and the Neighborhood Board Chair Chulan.
Good afternoon and aloha.
Aloha.
You know, it's a real honor to be here today for a couple of reasons. One, in my 6.5 years as mayor, I don't think I've come into this hearing room. And while I know all of you personally, it's kind of great to see you sitting up there and I'm sitting down here with the seal of the City County of Honolulu and watching you handle yourself in a way that just makes me proud of each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Mr. Harrison here is a very good lawyer, and how you're going back and forth tells me how hard your job is. It's not an easy job. And I'm here today as the mayor of the City and County of Honolulu because I feel it's a responsibility to this island, to this community and communities around this island to address problems where they may arise. And I'm here today to talk about a problem in Chinatown. And maybe something's going on here. I put in the shirt this morning, not really thinking, black shirt, but made by Sig Zane, special by the way, has a lightning bolt here. But he calls it Waikululu, and it's Chinatown. It's a map of Chinatown. And he explained to me that prior to Honolulu becoming the capital, and when it was still a small village, or Chinatown, it was called Waikululu. That was the village of Waikululu. And it was a small place that became the capital and everything grew from there. But to this day, it is a place where people go when they first come here, whether it's the Chinese, almost 200 years ago, or others today, Laotians, Cambodians, Vietnamese, and others, to begin life in our country and to start to live that American dream. And Chinatown, to me, is a great place because of that, but it's also where everything starts. It's where the heartbeat of our city begins, and it's a beautiful place with incredibly historic buildings. It's a place that thrives, but we have our problems. And one of those problems is the Mauna Kea Liquor and Grocery Store. As mayor, since I've been mayor, there's been ongoing issues around the store and in the store that I hear about, that I see covered in the news, and that I see personally when I walk around Chinatown, including 2 weeks ago walking with our chief of police, Susan Ballard. We walked for about 2.5 hours all over Chinatown, starting from one end and going down to River Street and back. And so I'm here today to talk about and making a request that you revoke the liquor license for Mauna Kea Liquor and Grocery. We're not asking to shut down the grocery store. We need grocery stores in Chinatown. We need a place where people can shop and buy their food. But I think it becomes an attractive nuisance with many problems. And I want to cover some of them, and I'm not saying I can back up everything that I say, but what I've heard from neighborhood board representatives, from our councilwoman, Carol Fukunaga, from our senator, Carl Rhodes, and others who love Chinatown. And so in no particular order, I wanted to describe some things. Suspected illegal drug transactions taking place in the store and in front of the premises, as reported to neighborhood board by Senator Carl Rhodes. Promoting excessive consumption of liquor, selling it to people who should not be buying more liquor, and then causing problems outside the store, but starting in the store. Allowing and condoning intoxicated persons to loiter in and around their business. You know the sections of HR, yes, that deal with this. And while I've heard already that, hey, the owner is not responsible for what happens outside the store, if it starts in the store with liquor and goes outside the store, I believe some ownership, and I'd be disappointed if any store owner would deny that they don't have that responsibility. They should care about their community, they should care about their surroundings. Selling liquor outside the allowable business hours in their liquor license. Again, the neighborhood board for downtown and Chinatown has voted unanimously urging me as the mayor and the liquor commission to review their liquor license, and that's why I'm here today. The 24-hour sales of intoxicating substance promotes a volatile and dangerous environment, and I can describe things that have happened. You know, a late night shooting, 11:45 p.m. on September 20th, 2017. An early morning altercation that resulted in the death of John Nolan. There's some here know. Very tragic situation. That was on June 9th of 2018. And then on June 15th, 2018, early morning stabbing, 8:45 in the morning in this area. And from January 2018 to May 2019, HPD has been sent to the store 70 times. So it's not like, oh, just sometimes, 70 times for various calls and complaints being made. The majority of calls were about nuisance complaints, 23, and also to break up arguments, 10 times. And 3 cases were related to direct violations of the liquor law, selling to those underage or without an ID, which should not have occurred, happening on the premises. So again, I'm not asking that you shut down the store, but asking you to consider revoking their liquor license, seeing what happens, seeing if this area is improved. You know, the Star Advertiser has done an excellent job for the past 5 days writing about Chinatown on the front page, and well, as mayor, I feel some sadness because these things are occurring under my watch. And there are things we've done through sit, lie, and start property owners, sidewalk nuisance, but it has not resulted in a solution that I think is acceptable to the folks at Chinatown or anyone who cares about our community. But this is one more step to try to deal with the challenges we have there. Many of the people that go into the store to get liquor are people who should be spending their money on recovery, not on drinking alcohol. And so I'm hoping that you will listen to the rest of the testimony and take appropriate action. I do want to thank each and every one of you. You work super hard. You really do. Many hours. Each and every one of you up here has another job. You're not retired. And they're important jobs where your bosses expect you to go and do your job too. So this means you're working longer and harder. But it's an important one. I want to thank you on behalf of the people of the city, County of Honolulu, almost 1 million strong, for what you do dealing with these types of issues. Thank you so much. And if you have questions, I'll stick around, but otherwise I'm going to go back and get some more work done. But if you have anything, I'll be more than happy to answer. If that's
Commissioners, do you have any questions for the mayor?
Just one clarification, Mayor. You said HPD was called about 70 times to the establishment. What's the time frame?
So in my notes, I have it from January 2018 to May of 2019, to up to this month.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Mahalo.
We have Council Member Fukunaga.
Good afternoon, Liquor Commission members, and thank you for the opportunity to present a very brief summary of some of the comments that I provided on behalf of myself and Representative Daniel Holt. Senator Rhodes is out of town, but his staff is here, and I think the fact that all of us are here in person underscores the urgency with which we have begun to take notice of many of the complaints that we have received from concerned citizens and businesses in the area. You know, as the mayor has stated, Honolulu Police Department has been called on numerous occasions to address complaints that they have received in and around this area. We have provided, as part of our testimony, copies of photos and other kinds of graphic depictions of individuals coming from or departing from the premises, openly drinking alcoholic beverages in the middle of the day or at times that otherwise would not be allowed under Hawaii statewide liquor law requirements. And in light of many of the concerns that have been raised previously, we strongly urge the Liquor Commission to take action to revoke the license of the Mauna Kea liquor and grocery proprietors. They can still do business if their other products are something that is desired in the community, but certainly the sale of liquor and other products has created an enormous burden upon surrounding neighbors as well as businesses. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Commissioners, do you have any questions? Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Can we have Miss Chulan Schubert Kwok, please?
I have a big foot. Good afternoon.
How was your trip, man?
I tripped, not from liquor. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. And this is a sad day that I'm here before you again. And the neighborhood board has already submitted a resolution, and is a neighborhood board voted to please do not renew, but please revoke this licensee. And also the Chinatown Business and Community Association, of which I was a founder almost 12 years ago, and we do a lot of work in Chinatown. And we are in sync with all the residents and businesses in Chinatown, and they have complained for years that this is a bad actor and they need to go. They serve the majority of the customers for the people that are a big burden to our community. They have issues with drugs, mental issues, and alcohol issues. So this is their 24/7 outlet to get whatever they need. And so neighbors have been very terrified, frightened, and threatened. There have been a lot of assaults. We have a video camera footage of a lot of stuff of people going in, buying liquor at all hours, opening the can, drinking on the way out, sitting outside, going towards Pauahi, threatening people. This is all on footage. And we have informed the police a lot of times. But as you know, we are short of police officers. We now have to go and get private security just for the sense of fear. And I think because these people act out and then they terrorize people. I go around with this. This is a pepper spray and a whistle because I've been threatened by people who are high on liquor and on drugs. I don't want to blow the whistle on you, but it is really scary. I've been attacked because I go to Chinatown once or twice a day to monitor our sidewalk and also to keep the calm, because most people are moving out of Chinatown, not coming to mend their shops because they're frightened. Because every morning they're greeted by a pile of shit, a pile of doo-doo, and then they have to wash down and they can't get the person to move off the instep, and they are threatened. The windows are broken. I mean, it is a battlefield every day. And having this liquor store as a 24/7 outlet is not helpful. Best Market down the street is not helpful. Fred's over a hotel is not helpful. CJ. So in this whole area of River, Nimitz, Smith, we should not allow liquor there because we have the most populated homeless people with crisis problems, mental issues, violence. And I have a guy half naked running down the street because it's high on drug and alcohol with a machete down on Hotel Street. I think the police arrested him. He attacked the bus and he got arrested. Took 3 squad cars. We have a lot of ambulance calls. A lot of fire trucks come down Chinatown all the time because of these people, because they can't control the behavior. And when the liquor just adds to the fire. I have a woman laying on the street all the time. Her name is Rachel. She goes in and out liquor store like it's her grandma's house. Yeah. And then she comes out, she drinks, and then she's there. We can't get her off the street. She's under treatment with Safe Haven, but they can't lock her up. Some of these people should take away their cash so they can go to the hospital or someplace where they have rehab. Because we're giving them money, we're enabling them to go there and buy the liquor. We're helping them too much. So I think as a liquor commission, you have the power to grant, to revoke, and to suspend. This is your duty in the community that you got to listen to us. I got 80 signatures from every shop in Chinatown. They don't want them there. Most Chinatown people don't want to sign their name to anything. But I had no trouble in 3 days. I got every merchant on next to him, the medicine store, the restaurant, everybody signed. They all say, please, go. I have people sign on Baratini Street, people on Manicure Street, people on Pauahi Street. The entire block signed to tell them, please go away. So this is how bad the situation is. I'm so grateful that you bring this up for the pre-renewal hearing. so that they have a chance to defend themselves. But they're indefensible because they violated every human trust and every faith that we gave them with the liquor license, which is a controlled substance that they sell, and they knowingly sell to minors. They knowingly sell to someone who's already so drunk and can't even pull their pants up, and they sell because money is gold to them. Human lives are not worth nothing to them. So this is why I think this is a very bad person who should never be given any liquor license anywhere in Hawaii because it's that bad. I know they can change a corporation, make a new name and start a new entity, but that's why it's so important for you. We already have 88 liquor licenses in downtown Chinatown. We don't need these 5 or 6 in this area. They can go to Walmart, Safeway, Longs and get liquor. Good people get liquor. Bad people should be given liquor because we're killing them. We're not helping them with their life. We're letting them sleep and die and if in their filth. We can't help them this way. We got to stop these outlets from enabling them and stop them from killing themselves. I see them every day. It bleeds. You know, it hurts to see them. And I can't help them because our laws are not strong enough. So I'm pleading to the authorities that take away the money that we send to their bank every month. We give them food stamps, we give them everything, but are we helping them? Are they getting off the street? The latest statistics don't show that we are succeeding. We're spending millions and millions of dollars to help the homeless community and the people with drug addiction, but we're not able to help them that much until
Ms.
I
Ms.
think,
Kwok,
yeah.
please stick to the
Let's
point.
summarize.
Thank you very
Very
much.
clear. Thank you so much, and please do not let this individual or them to run any liquor business. Please, thank you.
Commissioners, do you have any questions? Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Can we have Jesse Fag? Right? How do you pronounce that, man?
Fake.
Fag. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairperson O'Donnell and other commissioners. My name is Jessie Faige, spelled F-A-I-G-E, and I'm here on behalf of State Senator Carl Rhodes. He is out of town. I hope you received his written testimony before he left. Just wanted to underscore a few points concerning this matter on the agenda. As he noted in his testimony, there are a number of well-documented issues, including physical violence, drug dealing, excessive noise, the sale of drug paraphernalia, illegal drug use, and gambling that all have occurred on the premises of this applicant. The owners of Mauna Kea Liquor and Grocery appear to be indifferent to the illegality that's going on. We're not saying that they directly caused it, but they are indifferent to what is happening on their premises, and we believe it's the time to revoke their liquor license. The Senator would like to note that he lives very near to the building, less than 400 feet away at Honolulu Tower. He is an area resident. He directly is affected by this business, and on behalf of himself and the other area residents, he strongly urges you to revoke the license. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Okay. Can we have a representative from HPD, please?
Good afternoon, Chair O'Donnell, Commissioners. I'm Major Ryan Nishibun of Honolulu Police Department, District 1, which is a Chinatown downtown area. Last name is Nishibun, and I'm just going to read off a real quick statement here. HPD opposes the renewal of a liquor license for Mauna Kea Liquor and Groceries. We received numerous complaints in and around Mauna Kea Liquors for various complaints involving alcohol, as well as other criminal and non-criminal complaints. In 2018, we responded to 43 calls for service at Mauna Kea Liquor and Groceries. During the first 4 months of 2019 up to May 1st, we responded to 27 calls for complaints and services. And if we keep up that pace, we're looking at almost 85 calls for the entire year of 2019. And 85 calls for one establishment, a liquor store kind of establishment, is extremely high. The calls that we respond to vary from the most serious one being of manslaughter to drunk nuisance complaints and arguments. And many of these incidents were alcohol driven. As a comparison to Mauna Kea Liquor, District 1 responded to another liquor grocery store in the downtown Chinatown area 16 times in 2018 and only 4 times so far in 2019. And most of those calls were for arguments and medical assists. In addition to the regular calls of service at Mauna Kea Liquors, our plainclothes officers, or our crew units, conducted several undercover ops at Mauna Kea Liquors and Grocery that resulted in the arrest of store employees for selling alcohol to underage persons and for not checking IDs. Our Narcotics Vice Division also conducted a joint federal narcotics investigation in 2018 that resulted in the arrest of 2 people, and they also investigated 2 separate complaints in 2019 so far. So basically, the HPD is working with Chinatown community to revitalize the area, make it safe for everyone to enjoy. However, when establishments selling liquor relax the rules, to turn a profit, it has a trickle-down effect that affects everyone and unnecessarily burdens law enforcement resources when those resources could be put to better use. The HPD is not asking to shut down Mauna Kea Liquor and Groceries. We're just opposed to the renewal of a liquor license and the selling of alcohol, as they are doing so irresponsibly and at times illegally and attracting violators of law, which poses safety concerns to our citizens. I thank you for the opportunity to be heard, and I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
I have one question.
Vice Chair Gannabon.
Thank you. Based on the calls that were done to the grocery and liquor store, about approximately what time is the normal amount of time that an officer and how much officers spend answering or basically to this call? Is it 2 officers, 20 minutes?
Generally, if it's an argument call, it's going to be a minimum of 2 officers. It varies. It depends on the call, but on average, it'd be about 2 officers. And I believe, I can't say for certainty. I would have to go back and research the statistics on that, and I could get back to you.
It's just it requires majority of the time 2 officers.
We'll always, if it's like an argument type call, nuisance type call, we will generally send 2 officers back up. If it's a fight call, then of course it'll be more.
I have a question.
Yes,
You
sir.
mentioned there was another retail establishment that had 16 visits or so within a year. What proximity is that establishment in relationship to?
It's approximately 2 blocks away.
And the other retail stores, about 5 or 6 of them, are they all in the same proximity?
Yeah, I would say all within the right around the Chinatown area.
Vice Chairman.
Would you say that the amount of activity and illegal activity going on there is direct result of the management of the establishment, or basically if we decide to go ahead and revoke this license, would we just be moving these problems to another area, or do you think that it would help to dissipate the problem?
There's other factors involved besides just the Mauna Kea liquor, but it's the ability for these people to go there and buy liquor easily that I think contributes to the surrounding problems. So, for example, selling after hours, they're already intoxicated and they're going there to buy more alcohol. That what they do outside, like the attorney said, it's not maybe his direct responsibility, but selling the alcohol to already intoxicated persons is already
So
against
you would
law.
say that
So
yes,
it does
that
have an effect on the surrounding area.
it's the management causing some of these issues, not just that there are issues in this area.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have another representative from Honolulu Police who would like to speak? No? Okay. So is there anybody else in the audience that would like to testify? Please come forward, introduce yourself, spell your name. We'll have a 2-minute timer, please.
My name is Kim Taylor Reese. I'm on the board of directors for the Art at Mark's Garage, and I'm also a property owner at the Honolulu Towers. Walking by that place is like going through a gauntlet. I mean, it's horrible. It's really scary. And I'm not that shy of a guy, so but it's gone to the point where it's ridiculous. I mean, I can see from my lanai what's going on downstairs all day and all night, and I hope you guys will vote to revoke their license. It's terrible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that would like to testify? Okay, with that being said, Mr. Harrison, I'll give you an opportunity if you would like to make a statement after listening to the public's concerns. But there will be no action taken at this meeting.
I renew my request if there's any type of action to be even considered at this point in time, that we be allowed to properly present evidence before the commission. What I've heard today is a bunch of anecdotes, and I understand that the rules of evidence are relaxed at this proceeding, but we have stories of these complaints that have been made by various people in the community, and I respect their complaints that are being made, but in order to have some kind of due process and respond, we need factual evidence as to when are sales being made, who specifically did an undercover operation, what specific facts were generated, who are the witnesses to these matters, so we can respond properly. We can't respond to stories. We have to respond to facts, and that's procedurally that's what our laws actually require. Is that if you're accused of something, that you have the right to respond to those accusations in a proper manner, and we haven't given that right to respond. All we've heard is a bunch of anecdotes. Now, downtown Chinatown is a difficult place to be. There are a number of liquor establishments down Chinatown. My client can't control conduct outside the establishment. If there is sales going on of drugs in the place and there's been violations in that regard, then provide us with those violations. Show us when there were drug sales. Show us who did the drug sales. Show us how my client had some kind of involvement in those drug sales. And similarly, with regard to drinking, buying alcohol beyond after hours, where are the facts to those allegations? If the police have done the investigation and have come up with these statistics, then show us the facts so we can defend on this action. This is really a name-calling situation where they're calling this individual name, basically saying that he is causing all these problems in this area when we have no facts to support those problems. Just allegations. And that's the problem here. Show us the facts and we can respond to them. Now we've spoken, my client and I have spoken about this matter, and he is willing to, and he's agreed to shut down the liquor store from the store in general from 12 midnight to 6 in the morning. He's just waiting for roll down security panels, because if he doesn't do that, they'll be broken into. And one of the reasons why they're open 24 hours is because of the fact that they're afraid of being broken into. They, like every other citizen downtown, are subject to the crimes that are committed to other individuals outside the establishment as well. So he's willing, and he's only waiting for the roll down to be brought to his establishment and installed, which is going to be about a month, that he's going to shut his hours down from 12 midnight to 6 in the morning to assist. He's also done things such as put up security cameras and shared that with law enforcement. Specifically in the John Nolan case, he shared his video footage and helped the prosecutor convict the individual who was convicted in this case, because the outside cameras that the city and county had were not favorable to seeing the faces and the actual identity of the suspect in the case, and he went about to assist them. A lot of these calls that were made that they're complaining about, he's made those calls because of the fact that there's been crimes being committed outside the establishment. He does not allow his employees to sell to anybody that appears to be intoxicated, very much against what's being said here, but these are allegations, and he tells us, and he's actually fired employees if he believes the employees have assisted in any manner in causing any problems. He tells people they cannot drink outside his establishment because they're blaming him for that, but he does not control beyond that. I've seen some photographs here of places like I said on Pauahi Street and other places that are a distance from his establishment. Now, what is he supposed to do? Go out, sell items, go outside his establishment and run people away for 3 or 4 blocks every time he makes a sale? I mean, that's ridiculous. If there's crime going on outside his establishment, the police, if they're aware of it and there's these allegations, they have video cameras taking videos of these incidences, they have the information and the evidence to go prosecute these folks on the street if they're committing crimes on the street. But he should not be responsible for the crimes that are being committed. The sale of alcohol is allowed in this country, much to the consternation. A lot of people don't believe alcohol should be sold, but that's not the issue here. The issue is people downtown Chinatown who probably shouldn't buy alcohol, but who's to say they shouldn't buy alcohol? Is there a law against a homeless person buying alcohol? There is no law against that. Okay, so all he does is he provides a place for people to buy, like many other places down in Chinatown, and because incidents have happened around his store, he's being blamed for it, and that's improper. And it's really improper to have all this alleged information being brought to the commission without any substance other than stories, and have that affect you and your thinking as to his case before we get to an adjudication hearing. And that's my problem with this proceeding. I don't mind if we have this adjudication hearing with people coming forward and we have the right to challenge them, the right to cross-examine them, and the right to put forth evidence. That's fine. That's what the law provides, and that's what a due process proceeding entails. And we're willing to do that. But to allow, in effect, you folks to be infected, and I appreciate the mayor's concerns too, but the mayor's the one who put you folks there. Okay, he's coming in, and obviously that's going to affect how you're going to think. And this is before we have a hearing on the matter. So that's what I really don't understand and don't believe is proper in these proceedings.
Okay, Mr. Harrison, do not judge this commission on your interpretation.
I'm not.
You
sir.
made a comment that I find very offensive to all of these commissioners. We have regular jobs, this is a voluntary position, and we all try to be fair to everybody.
No, I appreciate
This is
that.
only a administrative commission, and this is only a fact finding.
But there's no facts found here. There's just allegations being
we're
made.
allowing,
That's what I'm saying.
We're allowing the general public to come forward and to state their position. You will get your chance, sir. Ms. Choi?
I just wanted to reiterate that, as this commission has always said, that a liquor license is truly a privilege, not a right. And I understand that Mr. Harrison has very grave concerns about the admission of evidence, but we will have that hearing, and the prosecution will provide or will file a petition, whether it be for revocation or non-renewal. But at that time, we will have a hearing, and we can put forth the evidence, and he can have his time to cross-examine if he wishes.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any further questions? If not, thank you, Mr. Harrison. No action will be taken on this matter.
Thank you.
We'll go back to the, can we take a short recess, please?
Where are we?
We are at 7.
Okay, commissioners, are you ready? We're
Yes,
back
sir.
on the
Ready.
record.
Yeah.
Let's see, where were we?
7.
Number 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is stock transfer application, agenda item number 7, application number 19-16157 from Tokino Inc.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commission, Keith Kiyuchi on behalf of the applicant. To my right is Keiko Kawaharada, last name Kawahara. We have no changes or additions to.
Chair, due to a conflict of interest, I'm gonna recuse
Thank you very much.
Forgot about
That's Mr. Kyuchi, you need to keep your head up.
I know.
Yeah,
You're right.
very good.
Um,
Okay, please proceed.
Yeah, we have no additions or changes to the investigative report. Ms. Kawaharada is a longtime operator and owner of Mr. Oji-san. This is a new bar she's purchasing. And anticipating the chair's question, we have all of the records except we don't have the 2018 tax returns. We're working on that. We've actually had to slog through getting a lot of the records, including but not limited getting the original articles of incorporation from DCCA. So we've gone through that process.
Okay, very good. So seeing where you brought it up, then let me ask you this simple question. Were those 2018 taxes filed?
They were extended,
Okay.
and we have been in contact with the accountant.
Very nice. Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicant or type of action?
Mr. Kyuchi, so this is for a category 4 hostess license, correct?
Right, that's the
Um,
present.
That's
yes.
the present, you
Yes.
folks stand on remaining in the category 4 hostess license?
More like a hostess bar, but in the category 4 hostess.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to approve stock transfer application number 19-16157.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 7, application number 19-16157 is approved. Thank you, Mr. Kyuchi. And we have Commissioner Miyashiro back, please. Are you going to be here again, Mr. Kyuchi?
This is the last one today.
The last one?
My
Okay.
wife's expecting.
I would have taken another one out of order if I had to. Okay. Let's call agenda item number 8, request number 19-15772 from Kavaloa Tavern LLC. Good afternoon, sir.
Commissioners, Jason Paz, PEZ. We're here for two agenda items, the 90-day license, trial license, and the permanent extension of the premise.
Very good. Commissioners?
This is the request for 90-day trial period for recorded and music and live entertainment, Mr. Paz?
That's correct.
What type of entertainment do you do?
Wednesdays we want to do like Hawaiian music, so we have like Bill Beasley and people like that. And Saturdays it's more Hawaiian music, so just Wednesdays and Saturdays.
And what kind of hours are you requesting?
For the Hawaiian music on Wednesdays, it's typically from 6 until 9, and then for Saturdays, it's between 10 and 2.
10 p.m. to 2 a.m.?
Yes. Oh, I mean, not 2 a.m. exactly, probably more like 1:30 a.m.
Great. And I'm looking at your floor plan right now. Where would the entertainment be located?
It'd be the area closest to the bar, so if you're looking at the bar,
Yep.
Where it says new waiter station,
Mm-hmm.
it's that area right there.
Okay. And I know that we're gonna address it in the next agenda item, but the deck area is that I see that there's a wall and then a doorway. Is that correct, or is it more open?
No, it's there's a wall and a doorway.
Okay. So only if you open those doors with the music, then be emanating outside.
Yeah, we've actually walked the premise and we walked down to the residential area to try and see if we can hear the music. So we are approved for karaoke, as you may or may not know. So we didn't walk out there and hear the music, and you can't hear anything from the residential area if the doors are shut.
How close is the nearest residence to your business? Roughly.
I'd say roughly about 500 meters away.
Have you reached out to any of the residential?
They're customers. They actually come and eat and listen to music. So.
Okay.
Any further questions? Vice Chair Gannabon?
Mr. Paz, very first and foremost, thank you for your service. I noticed that your request was back in 2018.
For the 90-day trial, that's correct.
And was there a delay or something, or what?
It was with DPP. It's just a bureaucratic nightmare with DPP. We submitted the request with them, and they had an issue with some building violations 2 years prior, electrical violations that has nothing to do with the current establishment. And then for whatever reason, it got to the bottom of the pile. We called them up periodically, and there was the same response: "They're too busy. They're too busy." It was approved, but they were too busy to sign it. So finally, they signed it about a month ago.
That was a zoning clearance?
The zoning clearance.
Just got it on May 1st. So let me ask you this: Are you currently doing live music?
Not as far as I'm aware of. I know sometimes we have the patio outside, and there are people that come there and play music. But again, the outside's not licensed for us, so we let people play outside because again, we're not. I mean, they're just homeless people, so we try not to interact with them too much. But no.
Mr. Paz, I was hoping, well, I'm sure that you're aware that you have a web page and everything, and you have social media that goes on, and I mean, on May 8th, I mean, didn't you have Bill Beasley there from 6 to 8?
I honestly, I'm not sure if he was there or not. And we have management that runs that.
So here's the thing, yeah, Mr. Paz, you coming forward and asking for a trial. Okay. And I will state for the record, okay, that I do know that you are doing live entertainment and stuff there, whether it's with your knowledge or not. You are the licensee. And what disappoints me about this is you have 2 licensed establishments. So coming forward for a request after the fact and knowingly doing it is 2 totally different things. And my thing is, Haleiwa is a place, and you know, we get it all the time. It's a very, very active community. And I like to fall, I'm a cat that likes to fall on my feet. I want to fall and be prepared for things like this, and knowingly that this has happened, knowingly that it's there, and knowing that it's happening on these days. And without you having that knowledge shows a disconnect, and I use that word a lot here, disconnect. There's been entertainment happening there, and I have a whole lineup knowing that who's been there and what's been advertised. And you got drink specials and everything going on with this. I was hoping that you would come forward and say these things and present it. And I'm not getting that, and then that's why there's a disconnect now that I'm seeing with that. So I'll reserve my comments for that. I'll reserve it that, and I'll motion to convene into executive session at this time.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, we are now in executive session. Okay, thank you. We're now back on the official record. Commissioners, do you have any further questions or type of action for the
Yes.
applicant?
Yes, Chair. Motion to deny request number 19-15772.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 8, request number 19-15772 is denied. Calling agenda item number 9, request number 19-16207 from Kaivaloa Tavern LLC.
Afternoon.
Hello again.
Identify yourself please for the record.
Jason Paz, PAZ.
Commissioners, do you have any question? This is to request approval to permanently increase its licensed premises to include the outdoor seating area. And that is depicted in
Mr. Paz, you have indicated here that there's a wooden fence around part of the proposed area.
There's a wooden fence part of the that straight area. That's there's a wooden fence there. Yes, there is.
How high is the fence?
I would say maybe about 5 feet, and then there's about a 3 feet drop off because it's on a patio, so people can't really climb over that fence because it's just kind of high.
And is it facing the road?
It's facing the parking lot.
It's facing the parking.
That's correct. The fence doesn't completely encase the patio. It encases a portion of it. So if you look at the blueprints, you'll see the red that has the squiggly marks, and notated on there is the barriers that we use. That's approximately 36 inches high. That will kind of block out the area that's not fenced off, but the rest of the area is fenced off.
So stanchions.
That's correct.
Commissioners, any further questions or type of action?
Mr. Paz, so your outdoor dining area currently right now is rooms being used for dining?
Use it for dining. I mean, people have consumed alcohol out there. It's very difficult for us to try and prevent people from taking alcohol out there. We have brought them back in there. We've hired security on the weekends, but frankly, we're just not making enough cash to pay for security. So obviously, this is the reason why we're doing this. The space was previously licensed before, but for whatever reason, when we submitted for the temporary license, it only allowed us to get the inside license. But the space was previously licensed.
So you stated you're having problem enforcing outside currently right now. with the
Weekends
drinking
we
going outside.
the weekends we can please people up, but the weekdays is difficult because we just don't make enough capital to try and we send staff out there to bring people back in. People go out there. There's a homeless issue in Haleiwa as well, so a lot of times we come there, people are drinking outside too. So expanding the area will allow us to hopefully bring in more revenue to bring in security to police that area up.
There's a lot of Haleiwa has a lot of outdoor venues. I mean, a lot of licensees with outdoor venues. But the concern is, you're having a difficult time right now. I know that your doors are closed, right? So it's a visibility problem as well, right? Unless you have someone standing out there.
That's correct.
And then providing service for out there, you have your wait staff going back and forth through the doors. And the tables outside is a first come, first serve. There's no hostess or anything like that.
Do we have any recorded music playing on the outside?
No, the DPP won't allow us to play music outside.
So, thank you for being honest and saying that there is consumption going on outside. With the consumption going on outside currently right now, that is income revenue being brought in, correct?
Well, to a certain extent, we do have to bring them back in. So, I mean, obviously that's money going out for security, but yes, it's partially revenue coming in.
So with the partial revenue, is it still, what is their staffing ratio to patrol that area?
You'd have to have a person out there pretty much at night, all night. Daytime, you just have to have the doors open. I mean, daytime it's not as problematic during the daytime, except for the homeless issues. Some of the homeless people are kind of scary, so I'm not there often. So the staff, they don't want to get confrontational with the homeless people. By us getting the license to have the area extended, we can put up that barricade to keep people out of the area and call it our own. But right now, it's kind of a common area.
And the town center doesn't, or they don't have security or any protocols for that type of measures?
No, they don't.
There's in the investigative report it states that there's no zoning clearance received currently for this extension.
Yeah, we submitted the request with DPP, and again, DPP is sitting on the zoning request. They've had it for a while. But again, like I said, the area was licensed by the two previous establishments going back about 10 years, 10, 15 years. So this isn't anything new.
How much involvement are you going to be involved in these operations?
Well, my plan was to be very involved in it, but business, it's very difficult in Hawaii. So I'm not just wearing a uniform because it's a costume. I had to actually go back to my plan was to get out of the military, but now I have to go back in. And unfortunately, my assignment right now, well, not unfortunately, I'm assigned to USAPAC right now, and it's current operations, so it's like I'm gone a lot. I have to be at PT at 4:30 in the morning. I've got to come back at like 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and I'm pretty tired. Preferably, I'd rather be there, but unfortunately, I have to augment the revenue just to pay the bills by going back in the military. So to answer your question, I'll be there as much as I can, but I mean physically, it's hard because I do go on a lot of trips too.
What about your staff? What is your staff like? You have staff there?
I do have staff, and they're great staff. They're doing their best, and they'll monitor them and they'll do what they can to try and like keep people outside or keep people inside. they're not always perfect. They're not necessarily experts in the law sometimes. They do call me up, but a lot of times I just don't have, where I work at, I can't just answer my phone where I work at a lot of times. It's a 24 operation. So oftentimes I can't answer my phone. But they are competent.
I actually have a question for administration. Do we know the status of this outdoor area and if it was ever licensed? It stated here that it didn't transfer with the original. There was nothing transferred. So do we need to resist it?
No, I think the licensing supervisor may be able to address this.
Okay.
Supervising Investigator Daniel Sato. I actually have Acting Supervising Investigator Catherine Fontaine, who actually did the transfer, or actually did the license.
So, as I remember it, when he submitted his floor plans with his application, he didn't include the deck area as part of the licensed premises.
So it was error on the applicant's part for not including that area in the application.
Correct.
So this area was previously licensed under the past.
Yes.
I think that the person that submitted the initial temporary license request, his assumption, which is he's been doing it for a while, was that because it was a request to take over the previous license, it would be licensed exactly the way it was prior. And I guess for whatever reason he didn't put the red square over the patio, and so it was a oversight on his part. So that's why we have to go back and redo the process all over again because he didn't put that red square over the patio, which was licensed before.
Okay, so for further clarification, my understanding it was a new application. So in order to go and proceed with the temporary license, it would have been the original footprint, which would have encompassed the outside area. But since it was a new standalone the new application did not have that area. So whatever was set in stone with the new application is final.
So Mr. Paz, I can relate to, I can understand you trying to increase revenue and stuff, but my concern is you being able to monitor what's going on out there. And your staff and given what your situation is and all that kind of stuff, and you said maybe only night times or whatever the situation is, and
Motion for executive session.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
That's it. Aye, we're now in executive session.
we're not out of order.
Yeah, I know. Okay, thank you. We are now back on the official record. Commissioners, do you have any further questions or a type of action?
Yes, Chair. Before I make a motion, Mr. Paz, we're a little disappointed that you weren't honest with us. So it gives us some concern about your character. And I will remind you that having a liquor license is a privilege, not a right. Okay, so we want that privilege to be extended to those people in our community with good character that are going to be operating upstandingly. Okay, that being said, my motion is to approve request number 19-16207 for a 6-month probationary period with a 3-month review in which you are required to appear before the commission.
Second.
Sorry, one thing. And also okay. And there will be no alcohol in the outdoor area in the extended premises after 10 p.m.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 9, request number 19-16207 is approved with the conditions stated in Vice Chair Min's motion. Thank you. Okay, now let's move on to agenda item number 10, request number 19-16602 from Robert Uyoka on behalf of American Renaissance Academy.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission. Robert Uyoka on behalf of American Renaissance Academy. Present to my right, Mr. Damien Hudson. He is the, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. Chairman of the Board of Governors. Have to get that right. At this time, we're asking for the prior denial to be set aside. We did submit a written submission dated May 15th. I would be happy to revisit those, or I can just highlight some specific matters on that.
Please do, Mr. Uyoka. This is your time.
The main point in this one is that there are special and unique circumstances in asking for the denial. I guess 2 primary points. Number 1, we're asking for the denial to be set aside so we can withdraw the application so we're not subject to the 1-year bar. We are not contesting or challenging the previous denial by the Commission. We're just asking for the opportunity to withdraw the application to not be subject to the 1-year prohibition. Also, this withdrawal is unique because there will be no harm to the public since the event already passed. The prior event was in November 2018. I just wanted to say something really brief about the school. When I was retained, I did do a site visit, and I was walking up to the school. I have a picture of it in there to the front office, and as I was walking up, there was another student, a high school female student, walking at the same time, and I was just not expecting, but she actually held the door open for me and let me walk in ahead of her, which I totally was not expecting, and I thought was really nice. So that was kind of the first impression I had of the school, which was fabulous. I then went in and they had their May Day program that day. So they were setting up and the kids were talking and really happy, and teachers were really excited about the May Day celebration. I did take also a photo just of their swimming pool, which I thought was very impressive. I just asked that the Commission set aside the denial and that we be allowed to withdraw the previous application.
So, Mr. Uyoka, let me just make a comment. We know the history of the school, and it's an outstanding and well-run and community-related school. We're very proud of that. It's not the issue. The issue is what happened the last time. It's these alcohol-related fundraisers that we have an issue with. So let's just we have no issues with the school. You have a good reputation, you have good people, well established in the community, a lot of successful people. And by successful I mean students going on and bettering themselves and becoming. So that's not the issue. Our thing here is you need to convince us what's going to be different. You know what I'm saying, right?
Absolutely.
You got. Let me just so we can kind of get the right thing going here, right? Okay. The applicant got duped by a bad promoter, and he realizes that. We realize that. But what we want you to ensure this commission or to show this commission is what's going to be different. That's what you need to sell to us.
I completely agree, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to address the set aside, but I'll be happy to go into the second one, showing special circumstances, changes circumstances. And if I did also another submission, asked HRS 281-60 subsection D asked for a report, so I did do a report. It's a second May 15, 2019 letter, and it talks about the substantial changes that we've done. And number 1, of course, first and foremost, was a complete change of the promoter. We have a different promoter from the prior event till now. Previously, we kind of talked about student involvement, and now we're going to have no student involvement in the event. Also, substantial changes to the floor plan. I attached the previous floor plan with the current floor plan. and as you can see, it's completely different. The first floor plan is handwritten. The second floor plan is much more architecturally designed and drawn. So that just the floor plan itself, the document itself, and also just the layout is completely different. If I go on to my letter, also the substantial change security plan. We're going to have 50 security. If you look at the current floor plan, it shows exactly where they're going to be situated. We wanted to give as much specificity for the commission to feel comfortable when we're doing this event. The previous floor plan just said we're going to have security spread out. So we have specific assignments, specific responsibilities. We're going to separate, this time we're going to separate a consumption area from a non-consumption area. We're also going to have a buffer, 5-foot buffer in between to prevent the passing of liquor from the consumption area to the non-consumption. We're going to have security situated within that buffer, the buffer area as well. We're also going to have all the servers and people handling alcohol trained, of course, train and obtain manager or bartender cards, just so we know that everyone is adequately trained. Type of entertainment is different. Last time it was more a EDM, I guess, type event, and this time it's more a pop event. It's a Swedish musical group, Galantis. I actually looked them up on the internet.
I did too.
I did too.
I did too. I did too.
So it's kind of it's a group, but I'm not really I'm not really familiar with EDM, but I looked up Galantis and I put them on YouTube just to know. So we changed the type of entertainment as well. I also gave additional information just about the venue. Generally, I know that's not necessarily a change, but I want to just emphasize that it is within kind of an industrial area, isolated, airport across the street. So it's not a really busy thoroughfare. And it's I tried to put that in that site plan and I kind of cut and pasted the floor plan and dropped it right into the site plan. It's that event location site plan, so you can kind of see the surrounding area where it's an open area and it's also in an more industrial area, far from residences. When I did do the site inspection, a site visit on May 3rd, I did take a picture of the area because I thought the commission should be able to see what they'd be considering, and I did have a picture of the area that shows the chain link fence which surrounds the outside of the area, and of course there's nothing here, just like a parking lot open area, but just so the commission can feel comfortable what they're reviewing. And then after that, of course, the previous floor plan from the event that was denied.
Thank you, Mr. Uyoka. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
So, no, you've been very thorough, Mr. Uyoka. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
We have a motion to convene into executive sessions if there's no more questions.
So moved. Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, we're now in executive session. Okay, thank you. We are now back on the official record. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Okay. For action on 10.
No action.
Action on 10.
Okay. Can I have a motion that we take no action on this?
We'll take no action on agenda item 10 for the record. Moving on to 11.
Calling agenda item number 11, request number 19-16598.
Robert Uyoka on behalf of American Renaissance Academy, present to right Mr. Damon Hudson. He is the, how do I get this, chairman of the Board of Governors.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Yes, we do. So, Mr. Uyoka,
Yes.
the premises that you're proposing within your May 15th letter, is it different from the one previously, from the previous denial?
It's the same location, just completely different layout and design.
So Mr. Uyoka, would you want to continue to work with administration?
Yes, please.
Okay, so motion to continue, agenda item number 11
1 week, yeah.
for 1 week.
Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 11 is continued for 1 week. Thank you, gentlemen, for
Thank you so
coming.
much. Thank you.
Okay, let's move to agenda item number 12. Oh wait, that's
Yeah.
Commissioners, can I have a Yeah,
Yes,
we're going
Chair.
round and round.
Motion
Thank
for
you
the
so much.
adoption of decision and order for agenda items 13 to 22 inclusive. Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, the adoption of decision and order, agenda items number 13 through 22 inclusive are approved. Moving into adjudication.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the Commission, Ms. Hirai, Deputy Corporation Counsel Monica Choi on the record for agenda items 23 through 35. Sorry, I'll let you call them.
No, go ahead.
Oh
Yeah,
no, you calling them.
yeah, thank you so much. So let's call agenda item number 23, Best Market Inc.
For best marketing, Attorney Wayne Luke requests a continuance to the next available date. I have no objection. I believe our next available date is May 30th.
Motion to continue agenda item 23 to the next available date.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, agenda item number 23 is continued to the next available. Calling agenda item number 24, Lounge Arose, A. Ross.
Chair and Commissioners, Ross Shinsato, authorized agent for lounge hours. And to my right is Seiji Suzuki, president of the corporation.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Shinsato, did your or does the owner wish to waive reading of the charges?
Yes.
Mr. Shinsato, how do you plead for charge number 1?
We accept charge.
Do you accept the charges for 1 or all 3?
All three.
Okay. Motion to accept the pleas for charges 1, 2 and 3. Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, agenda item number 24, we accept the plea for charges number 1, 2 and 3.
Ms. Choi, what is your recommendation for charge 1?
It is a first violation. I recommend a fine of $250. In this case, the time cards did not show all the required information such as like the clock out time and dates, like year.
And for charge number 2?
Charge number 2 is also a first violation. I recommend a fine of $250. In this situation, the clock in and clock out times were not always shown. And then for charge number 3, this is a first time violation. My recommended fine is $500, and it's for conducting business out of category. In this instance, they found that the restaurant was also engaging in hostessing.
Mr. Shinsato, any comment?
We are as far as hostessing, we are working with licensee in finding a proper application for the proper class and category of the
So
activity
they are currently operating within the class and category then?
Yes.
Alright, and then for your issues with your time cards, has that been remedied?
Yes, they had the time cards, it's just they did not have all the proper information on the time cards.
Thank you. Motion to approve the recommended fines for charges 1, 2 and 3 for a total of $1,000.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, agenda item number 24, the recommended fine of $1,000 total is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 25, the wine shop.
Hi, my name is Leanne Fu. I'm the president of the wine shop.
Thank you.
Ms. Fu, do you waive reading of the charge?
Yes.
How would you like to plead?
No contest.
Motion to accept the no contest plea. Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, agenda item number 25, the no contest plea is accepted.
Ms. Choi,
This is a first time violation for selling liquor to a minor. This is part of the alcohol compliance enforcement program. I recommend a fine of $1,000.
Miss Koo, what happened?
My staff person carded the person, and it was a stand-up card, and he sold it anyway.
And have you talked to this person?
Yes, and I've reduced his hours. Unfortunately, I only have 2 people, so.
Did he give you a reason of why he proceeded with the sale?
He was just crying. I mean, he just he thinks his life is over, and I tried to convince him that it wasn't over.
He should learn from this mistake.
Yes.
May want, and I've been stating this to other licensees that have also gotten this violation, that sometimes cashiers can be a little confused as to what the requirement is. They think that just checking the ID is the requirement. And so they say, well, I checked the ID, but there's a second part to that. So perhaps retraining them that just checking the ID is not the requirement. You're checking the ID to determine whether they are of legal age to purchase the alcohol. So perhaps talking with them about what the actual requirement is.
Yes, I will do that.
Motion. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Ms. Fu, are you still open for business?
Yes,
You
but
might not-
only during the times that evening hours only.
you might not- I'm only asking because Google and Yelp think you're closed.
Right. I'm in the process of transferring the liquor license. I have another license, and so I'd only, I'm just trying to close that down, and I haven't changed or contested what's on Google because it is going to be closed.
Okay.
As the wine stop.
Got it. Motion to approve the recommended fine of $1,000. Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 25, the recommended fine of $1,000 is approved.
Thank you. Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 26, so Dexto America LLC.
Sorry, make myself comfortable.
It's okay, it's been a long afternoon.
Night.
Mr. Provenza.
Gabriel Provenza on behalf of Sodexo America LLC. To my right is Patrick Baugh. I've already provided the spelling to the reporter. For this violation, we waive reading of the charges and would like to enter a plea of no contest.
Motion to accept the no contest plea. Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 26, the no contest plea is approved.
Ms. Choi.
This is a first time violation for selling liquor to a minor, and this was at an event, the Birthday Bash, on April 20th, 2018. I recommend a fine of $1,000.
So this was not part of our compliance check, correct?
No.
Mr. Provenza.
Okay, so this was for allowing consumption by a minor on the premises. It's not necessarily tied to a sale, but according to the report, which we don't dispute, a 19-year-old was caught with an alcoholic beverage in her hand, took a sip of it. It's a violation of the rules. First and foremost, the licensee takes responsibility for it and apologizes to the commission. Probably the most important thing to note is that since that time, so this was back in April 2018, at events like this, where it's major rage, birthday bash, that kind of thing, to the extent they even host these events still, they almost exclusively are doing beer gardens where alcohol, you gotta be 21 to get in, you gotta have the band, ID check 100%, and alcohol doesn't leave that area. So the passing, this seems like it was likely a passing scenario where someone of age was able to purchase, pass it to a minor to consume on the premises is, we think, highly reduced now under the new protocol that they've implemented. Anyway, Patrick's here to answer any operational questions if you have on that.
What was the number of attendees?
It was around, I got it here, 5,000, I believe, 4,392.
This was where the Waikiki show.
Yes.
If you have this much detail, I don't know if you do. Do you know what area of the show lawn
So
the
the
individual was caught?
The investigative report has it as the seating area fronting the stage. So there's kind of two areas like that. So it was either the very front, which we understand was like the VIP area, or it was the more formal seating area behind that. But they're both kind of similar sections.
Okay, so they were kind of they weren't on the general lawn area.
Correct.
Anything further, commissioners? Motion to approve the recommended fine of $1,000. Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, agenda item number 26, the recommended fine of $1,000 is approved. Calling agenda item number 27, Sodexo America LLC.
Gabriel Provenza on behalf of the licensee Sodexo America LLC. To my right is Patrick Ball, he's the general manager.
Thank you.
Waive reading of the charges and enter a plea of no contest, please.
Motion to accept the no contest plea. Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, agenda item number 27, the no contest plea is accepted.
Ms. Choi.
This is a first time violation for allowing an overly intoxicated person on the premises. My recommended fine is $1,000.
This is a first time violation.
Yes. Same event, April 20th, 2018. The Waikiki show.
Mr. Provenza.
So as you heard, it's for allowing someone to remain on the premises for when they appear visibly intoxicated and not taking measures, in a reasonable amount of time to get them out of there. In this case, I'm going to point the blame a little bit, although we accept the full responsibility because Sodexo does have the license. From the investigative report, what it seems like is there was someone in the area that could have addressed this person, like that walked right by him, and then one of the liquor investigators even went to that security personnel and said, "Hey, can I get some help addressing this?" And the guy, basically blew him off. It's the summary of the report. Obviously, that's not our standard that we're trying to uphold. A different method should have been taken. We have a radio system in place, so that's connected. I think there was, correct me if I'm wrong, but Sodexo had 47 people that are, their own security, basically, in addition to the 45 for Rain Hawaii security that the promoters provided, and then the HPD uniformed officers that were there. But Sodexo has, radio communication with other people. So this particular individual who worked for the contracted security company has an earpiece in, and although he maintained that he had to stay at his post, he couldn't help himself. The procedure would have been get on your radio, get somebody that can, immediately.
And this was a private security company hired by Sodexo?
Correct.
For this particular event, or are they under contract for other events as well?
I believe it's on a per event basis, and in light of the investigative report, we're obviously going to be having second thoughts about using the same security in the future.
I have one question. So this vendor, is he a recommended vendor by the city?
KT's, if you're referring to the security that we use, KT
Yes.
services, apologize, I'm not 100% sure. I'm new to the GM position, but I'm not 100% sure. I do know that our security, our license, and my head of security, his name is Ed Howard. He's the one that contacts. He recommends KT services because of the level of their professionalism, usually based on other security that is used at events. So that's who we contract on at an event per event basis based on past history. This is the first time that I'm aware of that we've had an issue with their staff to that extent. So we do still continue that, relationship with them.
And for clarification, is it KT or Ring?
KT. So apologies for clarification purposes. Sodexo itself, we employ a group of individuals. Then certain events, obviously, we don't have enough staffing, so we then approach outside staffing. So we go with KT Services. They're paid by Sodexo. The promoter at events is also required. They used RAIN services, and then the city required additional off duty. That was special duty HPD.
So this was the promoter security.
KT was my security, is my understanding. From the report, it was stated specifically as KT, so it would have fallen under our security.
Is that what you stated? I think
Yeah.
you said ring. Yeah.
No, I stated so. Sodexo had 47. Oh, I think you might be right. I misstated.
Yeah, okay. Because I mean, it's very important to know the difference in the security standards. I mean, me and Joe can speak of experience. We've done, you know, events there with thousands and thousands of people, and it's virtually impossible to police the area. However, the only difference is we don't have alcohol. But because it's always been an issue. So you replaced Davey?
Davey has been gone for a while. Juno Ornstein left
okay.
in November. I took over as the general manager in November. I've actually been with Sodexo since 2012 on Hawaii. I was the operations manager at the University of Hawaii. I'm currently the GM there also.
But you're working hard, huh?
Try not to.
How do you communicate among your various vendors so it doesn't happen again? Because you know this is one instance where someone apparently disorderly walked past the security officer and turned a blind eye. Because I don't think it's just training. I think it's communicating between the various vendors.
No, apology. So not to defer costs. I wasn't at the event because it wasn't under my charge at that time. Going forward, since I've taken, I've communicated with our staff and stuff. So I make it a point for myself at the beginning of events. Security does a briefing at the beginning. So I'm in that with our Sodexo security. I'm in part of that. I tell them start times, end times when we're cutting off alcohol based on set lists, whatever it may be, how many drinks per person based on the type of crowd it is, where the designated areas are. Then our security then goes to do their duties. We bring in the KT services. We give them a similar briefing. Now their responsibilities include stuff, but they're also limited because we usually try to make their duty access points, making sure that they're there. So we don't put the emphasis on who is dropping out on those people. They're usually there for access points. So we do brief them every time, and then at the end, you know, we have notes, etc., that we take and go forward from there. We hadn't had anything at the show since I come on until recently. I actually had one small event on Saturday that was a memorial service. But we haven't had any big shows. So as far as specifically the show, I haven't had anything, but I use the same process at every show, the Blaisdell Arena, the concert, etc. So how do we judge? You know, we ask them to send their crew. We brief them before. We make sure they understand their duties, which includes compliance to Liquor Commission. My staff understands that, you know, compliance to Liquor Commission. There's no issues there. So.
I have a question because we've heard these large events prior before, but I thought that the limited seating in the front was always limited to 21 and over, because it's my understanding when I questioned the sale and how they were policing the area that everybody had to have wristbands there. They weren't personally serving
This is for disorderly, not for minor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so go ahead, strike that. Sorry, getting off subject.
Okay, so we can be assured that in the future, if there is a similar situation, that your staff is going to be prepared to take care of it appropriately?
Yeah. His staff, and also, you know, we're going to address this specific individual, you know, to the extent they hire KT's security in the future, you know, a discussion regarding whether that,
reminding them what the point of having
the
communication devices for.
and also not to tell the investigator you don't have communication. If you have
yes, I would think that that'd be something important to instruct them about.
Yeah, but you know, as to that individual, definitely, if he is allowed to come back on, that will be clarified, and you know, just revisiting everything in connection with this violation and the reports that they have internally is part of the procedure. And again, I apologize.
Anything further, Commissioner?
Nope.
Motion to approve the recommended fine of $1,000.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, agenda item number 27, the recommended fine of $1,000 is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 28, Foodland Farms, Mr. Uyoka.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Mr. Rai Robert Wilk on behalf of Foodland Farms, present to my right, Mr. Jason Lam, he's the district manager. At this time, we're gonna waive reading the charge, stipulate to a factual basis, and enter a plea of no contest.
Motion to accept the no contest plea. Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, agenda item number 28, the no contest plea is accepted.
Ms. Choi.
This is a first time violation for selling liquor to a minor. This is part of our alcohol compliance enforcement program. I recommend a fine of $1,000.
Thank you. Mr. Uyoka.
In this matter, the employee did request ID, became confused, and unfortunately completed the sale. This employee is no longer employed with Foodland Farms. We did engage in retraining and meetings with the employees to emphasize the importance of not selling liquor to minors and to properly check ID.
And this is at your Ala Moana shopping center
Ala Moana.
location, correct?
Yes, Ala Moana store, the new
Okay, you know, we've had that severe accident that involved pedestrians, you know, and that person was very, very intoxicated with and underage, so we really want to be careful, especially in these areas. Okay.
Yes.
Motion to approve the recommended fine of $1,000. Second.
Then moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, agenda item number 28, the recommended fine of $1,000 is approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Calling agenda item number 29, Coco Cove.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. This is Rai Robert Wilk on behalf of Coco Cole. Present to my right, Brandy Pacheco. She is the district manager. This time, I'd like to waive reading the charge, stipulate to a factual basis, enter a plea of no contest.
Motion to accept the no contest plea. Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, agenda item number 29, the no contest plea is accepted.
Ms. Choi.
This is a second time violation for selling liquor to a minor. And this is part of the alcohol compliance enforcement program. My recommended fine is $2,000.
When did the previous violation occur, Ms. Choi?
On January 17, 2015.
About 4 years.
About 4 years.
4 years.
Mr. Wilka.
In this matter, unfortunately the employee did not request ID. The employee is no longer terminated with us. Based on this incident, we are in the process of working on the supplemental training materials. I actually have it right here, but I didn't want to say we engaged it. Basically, what it says, and I have 10 copies. It basically, we're going to change it so they have to card anybody that appears under 50. So a lot of times you say, okay, you have to card anybody that appears under 50. What does that mean? So what I thought that we're working on is something that we actually got quotes and pictures out of a dermatology book. I mean, it's just common sense, but people say you should card anybody that looks under 50, but what exactly do you look for? What traits? So, it's just something we're working on. We're in the criteria. I do have 10 copies, and you're happy to see.
I wanna know what they look like.
You don't have my picture in there, do you?
But rather than coming up with criteria on our own that could potentially offend people, we wanted to cite a medical source. So we went to but it's something mainly it's just to discuss with our employees that you should kind of look for these things, and rather than just telling them you should card anybody under 50, we wanted to try to just talk it out. We're not necessarily gonna give them that meaning for a talking point and to discuss it with them. But we thought we wanted some objective standard.
Get Mallow Monroe.
This is very creative.
It's something that we
We
wanted
have not
to
seen this before, Mr. Wilka.
versus just talking it, we wanted to show it, and we wanted to use established standards, not try to create anything, and just to try to look at something that is objective and is established medical information. So we wanted to roll it out, but because this hearing came up kind of quickly, we're not ready. But this is what we plan to do, and like I said, we previously did under 40, but now we're trying to raise it to under 50. Coco Cove did have a prior violation in 2015, which was unfortunately within the 5-year window, but we did get a compliance certificate of 2018 that we just brought. But unfortunately, we did have a violation. We're taking responsibility for it, but we wanted to do something proactive, especially in this case because the clerk did not request for ID.
So are you
that's when-
saying you're batting 500?
In this, we rather bat 1,000 in success, but unfortunately, we do have a prior, so we take responsibility for that.
Alright, thank you for that, Mr. Iwaka, very thorough. Motion to approve the recommended fine of $2,000.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 29, the recommended fine of $2,000 is approved.
Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 30, Food Pantry Express.
Robert Uyoka on behalf of Food Pantry Express, present to my right, Ms. Brandy Pacheco, District Manager. At this time, you're going to waive reading of the charge and stipulate the factual basis and through a plea of no contest.
Motion to accept the no contest plea.
Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 30, the no contest plea is accepted.
Ms. Choi.
This is a second time violation for selling liquor to a minor. My recommended fine is $2,000. This is part of the alcohol compliance enforcement program.
Same question, when was the previous violation?
Oh, I'm sorry, I had it written. It was on September 14, 2018. So
Pretty close.
just 6 months.
Thank you, and this is, Mr. Uyoka, this is the Food Pantry Express in Waikiki.
It is Food Pantry Express. We were here I guess a couple weeks ago or so. I don't think they had prior violations for that. They've been open for 30 years. But unfortunately, these two occurred. In this matter, it was a compliance check. She did ask for ID, but she miscalculated the date of birth. She is no longer employed with Food Pantry Express. We did do the same retraining and meetings, but she, obviously she miscalculated the dates. It is, the prior violation was there, but just, it's one of those things that happen and we take responsibility for it.
Thank you. Motion to approve the recommended fine of $2,000.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 30, the recommended fine of $2,000 is approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 31, Tomorrow's Market.
Aloha Chair, Vice Chair, members of the Commission, Emmanuel Zibakalam here on behalf of Tamura Enterprises Incorporated. To my right is Glenn Tamura, the President, and to his right is Mike Mita, the Director of Operations. We waive reading of the charges and enter in a plea of no contest.
Motion to accept the no contest plea.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 31, the no contest plea is accepted.
Ms. Choi.
This is a second time violation for selling liquor to a minor. My recommended fine is $2,000. The prior violation occurred on May 5th, 2018.
Mr. Zibakalam.
This unfortunately was human error. The individual was the employee was presented with a ID. He checked the ID, entered in a number into the system that we have, and processed the transaction. Since then, the individual has been terminated, and we've taken extra steps in trying to secure our procedures, as we did last time. We understand that this is a very serious matter, and take full responsibility for it. Previously, we had implemented different items such as a secret shopper program and a new point of sale system into all of our stores. Our new point of sale system was implemented when this action occurred. I believe for all stores put together, the cost of the point of sale system was approximately $850,000. The reason I state that is to show that we're not only putting procedural methods into place, we're also putting the financial resources to try and make sure that this doesn't happen. So we went new school, and so I guess it was only time to go back to old school. So what we will be doing in the future, is removing any override function for front of house employees, so only managers will be able to do so. Although that still allows individuals to put in wrong dates. So to try and combat that, what we've decided to do is any vertical identification will require 2 individuals to review it before they are allowed to complete the sale.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I just have one question. So, do you audit your tapes to see how many times a register has been overridden? You might wanna start doing that, especially with certain tellers that continuously override the system, so that sends up a red flag.
Do you have the capability of looking to see what exact dates have been entered?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so are you folks looking at those? Because if you're getting multiple birthdays that's all the same date, what that tells you is that cashiers are not putting in the date on the ID. They're putting on a date they know is gonna go because it's easier and faster than reading it and typing in each number. So I would suggest looking at those tapes so that you can see what your cashiers are actually doing, instead of just assuming the training and the scare tactics are gonna work, because you know people can be very lazy. So I would suggest looking into that.
Mr. Zavakilan, I'm a little confused on what the POS system is, because when the last time I went, they can't even start a sale without an ID. They have to scan the ID prior to even doing anything. So even before we even bought anything, we needed an ID. So we presented the ID, they scanned it, and then they put our purchases through. So I don't know if it's the same for across all the locations. Is that the $850,000? Did you say $850? You said $850,
So
right?
it was a total revamp of the system, so that included all the scanners as well as the new POS systems. Now it does include new software for the rest of everything. It wasn't primarily only for liquor enforcement, but I believe what happened in that instance was originally when it was rolled out, the new system, there was the ability to put it in, and then we kind of phased the scanning in, and so now all of our individuals are told that all of our employees are told that they have to scan the license. I don't believe that it's necessarily required to start a transaction, but it is our procedures to do so. And the reason that it's not always done that is because we do have markets and such. So if an individual is not purchasing alcohol, then it would kind of conflict with that.
Yeah, because they were very adamant about it. They just hands off, like it was just. And then my husband purchased cigarettes and presented his ID, and then did another sale. So we tested it. I just was curious to see, but it didn't proceed with anything. That was it.
Just to clarify, so if a customer comes in to purchase liquor at one of the stores, let's say the one in Kapolei, the cashier has the discretion to either scan or type in manually the date of birth?
No,
not anymore.
You have to scan it.
Initially, it was you could key it in.
Okay.
We took that away. In other words, you cannot even key. Everything has to be scanned. The only time we can key it in is when the manager comes in and overrides the system.
Because we were having too many errors. The cashiers, they punched like one of the cashiers punched one a day off, and it registered to sell, but he's still a minor. His birthday was the next day, so we took that manual stuff away. Basically, our scanners is just there to read their birthday.
What about like if it's a passport or anything like that? Like does it scan like any ID, or how does that? On a passport side, then the manager would have to come forward and 2 people to identify. Okay.
And this violation happened 8 months ago, correct? So you implemented your new system when?
So at this location, the scanning was not available at that time, I believe. This is one of the markets, so the markets took a little bit longer to implement than just the alcohol stores.
Thank you.
I'd like to just make a comment. I mean, the receipts show an age verified, so it doesn't show a date that was entered. But in this particular instance, it says on the receipt age verified 28. So I don't know if I assume that's referring to the age of the person, but this person didn't turn 21 yet, obviously.
So it was inputted incorrect.
Motion to approve the recommended fine of $2,000.
Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 31, the recommended fine of $2,000 is approved. Calling agenda item number 32, the row bar by Tomorrow's.
Aloha Chair, Vice Chairs, members of the Commission, good evening. And Emmanuel Ziwakalam here on behalf of Tomorrow Enterprises. To my right is Glenn Tomorrow, the President, and to his right is Mike Mita, the Director of Operations. We enter in a plea of no contest and waive reading to the charge.
Motion to accept the no contest plea.
Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 32, the no contest plea is accepted.
Ms. Choi.
This is a first time violation for the failure to submit the annual employee list. My recommended fine is $250.
Mr. Ziwakalam.
This was unfortunately just an oversight. We were still working through some of the employment issues, staffing the bar appropriately, and the new list was not submitted after the annual renewal period. Since then, it has been submitted and everything is up to date.
Thank you. Motion to approve the recommended fine of $250.
Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 32, the recommended fine of $250 is approved. Calling agenda item number 33, Tomorrow's Wahiwa.
Aloha Chair, Vice Chair, members of the Commission, Emmanuel Ziwakalam here on behalf of Tomorrow Enterprises. To my right is Glenn Tamura, to his President. To his right is Mike Mita, the Director of Operations. We enter in a plea of no contest and waive reading of the charges.
Motion to accept the no contest plea.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 33, the no contest plea is accepted.
Ms. Choi.
This is a first time violation for selling liquor to a minor within the last 5 years, actually longer than that. I recommend a fine of $1,000. The two prior violations occurred about 18 years ago and 14 years ago.
Thank you. Mr. Ziwakalam.
I would enter similar comments in from the previous violation or agenda item. The same thing happened. The individual took the ID, read it, punched in something that was not the correct number, and then proceeded with the same.
And you folks have taken the same steps at this location as you took across your corporation, correct?
Correct.
There were consequences to the employee?
The employee was terminated.
Motion to approve the recommended fine of $1,000.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 33, the recommended fine of $1,000 is approved. Calling agenda item number 34, Tomorrow's Fine Wine and Liquors.
Aloha Chair, Vice Chair, member of the Commission, Emmanuel Ziwakalam here on behalf of Tomorrow Enterprises. To my far right is Mike Mita, Director of Operations, and to his left is Glenn Tomorrow, the President. We enter in a plea of no contest and waive reading of the charges.
Motion to accept the no contest plea.
Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 34, the no contest plea is accepted.
Ms. Choi.
This is a first time violation for this store selling liquor to a minor. My recommended fine is $1,000.
Mr. Ziwakalam.
Same instance here, the individual took the ID, reviewed it, entered in incorrect numbers, and then proceeded with the sale. The employee has been terminated, and we have implemented the same procedures as in the previous agenda items to make sure that it will not happen again.
Any questions, Commissioner?
More of a comment. I know you folks are doing a lot of changes to prevent this from happening again. And I remember the last time we heard a couple of these violations with your stores. I just encourage you to keep abreast of technology, what establishments are doing in other jurisdictions, and stay ahead of the curve so that try to be proactive as opposed to reactive and spend money after these violations occur, because we're concerned this is compliance, but there must be other instances that people are purchasing underage and we're not here for them. So again, I just encourage you to keep abreast of whatever information you can get to stay proactive.
Thank you, definitely.
Motion to approve the recommended fine of $1,000.
Second.
It's been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 34, the recommended fine of $1,000 is approved.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you for waiting so long. A long night with us, yeah?
Calling agenda item number 35, Shinsho Tai T
Tate.
Tate Tate. Excuse me.
I guess it's good evening now.
Yes, good evening, ma'am.
Chairperson and recognition staff.
Anybody wanna take the power nap?
That's called just going to bed. Sorry, go ahead, ma'am.
Am I supposed to
Introduce yourself and spell your
Helen.
last name for the record.
Helen Galmichi, last name is Galmiche.
Ms. Galmichi, do you waive reading of the charges?
Yes, I did.
How would you like to plead?
Before I plead, could I make a statement for the record?
No, we have to take your plead
Oh,
first
plead
and then
first.
you can make a statement
After,
afterwards.
okay, so no contest.
Okay, and that's no contest for all charges?
Um,
You have three, you have
two.
two charges tonight, so.
No contest for the first one. And the second one, I really don't know how to plead because
Okay, well, we'll go through
Well,
that.
the
So no
first
contest means that you're neither accepting or denying the charge. Okay, so we'll take it one at a time. So for charge one, you plead no contest?
Correct.
Okay, motion to accept the no contest plea for charge one.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 35, charge number 1, the no contest plea is accepted.
Ms. Choi, your recommendation for charge one.
Okay, for charge number one, it's a first time violation for the failure to have the adequate information, the time cards. In this instance, the AM or PM portion was not indicated. My recommended fine is $250.
Okay, ma'am, so what happened? You have a comment for the first charge?
Actually, I realize that it says it is a rule that you're supposed to put AM or PM, but technically and legally, the dispenser license can only be open from 6 AM to 2 AM, and we cannot technically or legally be open at 3 AM. So we opened the bar at 3. We didn't think it was necessary to put PM because we can't be there at AM.
It is.
Okay, that's what I found out.
Yeah, it is, so because we have so many licensees, we don't need our investigators to have to
Right.
go and look at what every single
Well, and, that's
licensee's
another
hours
question.
is to try and figure it out.
Another bar told me they did receive a warning, and I said, "How come I didn't receive a warning?"
Well,
What
it
is-
could have been for something else or another bar, so or another category of license. So I would say just focus on what your
Mhm.
responsibilities are, and if you have any, if you don't know what your responsibilities are, you have questions, you can always come down to the commission, speak with somebody at the counter. You can call, you can email us. All of our information is online. Okay. For charge number one, agenda item 35, motion to approve the recommended fine of $250.
Second.
Agenda item number 35, the recommended fine of $250 for charge number 1 is approved.
And how would you like to plead for charge two?
That's the one I'm not really sure because the violation says that we were holding on to all liquor cards, and I think we have about 27 employees, and we had maybe 10 of them
Okay,
on
so
the
ma'am,
premise.
so we need to enter, you need to enter a
No
plea.
contest again.
Motion to accept the no contest plea for charge two.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 35, the no contest plea is accepted for charge number 2.
Ms. Choi, your recommendation.
This is a first time violation. My recommended fine is $350. At the time of the inspection, the investigators found that the licensee had held 15 employee registration cards. And the registration cards are supposed to be in possession of the employees.
Alright, go ahead, ma'am. So what is your
So-
comment for this?
We have like 27 employees. We have like 7 teachers, two students that stand by, and about 6 other standby waitresses. So they're not there all the time. So they asked me, "Hey, I'm a teacher. I'm always changing purses, and as far as the ID, it says not a valid ID. So they're saying I can't really use this ID anyplace else. So can I just leave it here? Because I don't know when you're gonna call me to work, and I'd rather the card be here." So like I said, it's not for all the employees, just for some of the teachers that feel comfortable just leaving it there so that they won't get a fine.
I understand the issue, and you know it's you have a difficult job. However, the rule is the rule. So those cards have to be in the employee's possession, cannot be in the possession of the board.
Okay, because at that time when we got the violation, there were 4 of us. I had mine in on my person. The bartender, 2 of the waitresses had theirs in their purse, and just 1 person had it actually in the drawer. She's a teacher. So just for future reference, if they're a teacher and they're like traveling all the time and they want to leave it there, I'm supposed to tell them no?
Yes, you're supposed to tell them no. That we understand other people have other lives, but to be fair to everybody, everybody has to follow the same rules. Okay, so that's one of the rules. So we know that you're having a difficult time, but you need to follow the rules.
Yeah, I kind of just don't understand why they couldn't leave it at the bar.
Well, simply because if they left it at the bar, then you would have access to use that for any other employee.
Oh, they got their
Right?
pictures
Makes
on.
sense?
Oh, okay.
You see what?
Yeah,
you see what-
yeah.
Huh? Makes sense, huh?
I understand.
Okay. Motion to approve the recommended fine of $350 for charge 2. Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 35, the recommended fine of $350 is approved. Thank you for coming and waiting. Okay.
I did. This is very important for me because I know a few times today you mentioned about it being a privilege to have a liquor license, right? And I totally agree with that. I was told that by one of the previous liquor commissioners. And so when I got served these papers, I didn't get served. They served it to one of my employees at Shinshote. So when he gave the papers to me, I said, I'm going to be in Japan. I'm not going to be able to make this. So I checked the papers out. I called the deputy corporate counsel office. And she said, there's no problem. We're just going to reschedule you.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So she said, I'm rescheduling you to April 4th. And I said, well, should I come down and sign some document? And she said, no, I already made the changes. You're rescheduled. So right before April 4th, when I was supposed to come down, I said, you know, that's very strange. Liquor commissioner usually sends me something in writing. So I called the office and I said, I just want to check before I come down to the hearing. Am I scheduled on the hearing schedule? And he said, no, you're in default as a no-show. And I said, oh, you know, I called it in. And so I had to run around, find the person that I talked to. She apologized, and I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, but the paper out there says I was in default, and I want that off the record. And she apologized, and she said, I remember you because I told her I'm going to be in Japan. I'm not going to be here. Is there anything I have to do? And so she said, I rescheduled it already to April 4th. You're okay.
If you ever have questions, you can always come down or call
Well,
during normal
I did have a
business
question, and that's why I called the deputy
No,
corporate.
come
Oh.
to the liquor commission office, not the corporation
Oh,
council.
but you know, that's exactly what I was told not to do. No, I talked to Lilen Kanji, and I said, I called the liquor commission office and told them I was going to be in Japan. And he said, no, you don't call the liquor commission office. You call the deputy counsel
For the
office.
adjudication.
So I went back into my records and it showed that I called the deputy counsel office. I talked to, I have her name, but like I said, I'm not here to try to get anybody in trouble.
So you're
I just want it off the record that I am not in default.
Can yes, please.
My understanding is that was a mistake, Miss Neely. What she worked to do was make sure that the default judgment was never entered. So,
Oh, but it says that out here.
Yeah.
On the paper it says default.
Yeah, no, all of our papers have that only because this has just been printed.
Oh, Well, we didn't serve any decision in order entering the default judgment. I know it was stated on the record, but we never actually served it because we wanted to schedule the hearing so that she could come.
Okay.
So there was
that's
a
not-
mistake
So can
made.
we ensure that her record has been cleared of a default?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Is that
Thank
the
you.
same matter she just appeared for today?
No.
Something
No,
different?
it's a different matter.
No, same.
She was
It's the
defaulted
same
because
matter.
she
It was
was in
default
Same
because
Japan.
I didn't show up when I was in Japan.
And she
Okay,
tried to
hearing.
let us
She
know
notified
beforehand.
everybody.
What we adjudicated today is the matter she was defaulted but never served.
Yes.
No,
Yeah,
no,
the
this is,
the decision and order was never given to the commission for approval, so therefore there are no default judgment on your official record. It is on the agenda for basically sunshine law purposes, so if someone wondered why something was registered twice on the agenda, there would be a disclosure there. But it's not on your record as a
Okay.
default.
Because I do really appreciate what you folks do and what you have to go through all the time. And I do respect you, and I didn't want that on my record that I was a no-show. As I ran into one of the attorneys, he goes, "Yeah, where were you last time? You was a no-show."
Well, you
Like-
definitely showed up tonight.
That-
There's no
that
question
was,
about that.
let me hear you guess, that was Mr. Kyuchi.
Thank you very much for all the
Okay,
patience.
moving on, thank you, Ms. Choi. Moving on to agenda item number 36, administrative matters. We have, the commission has, no, the commission has matters. Okay, yeah, and we'd like to have enforcement present too. So our issue is, before I turn it over to Narcy, how did this thing all come about? We felt that we got blindsided with this with this
Agenda item
notice
12.
to show cause. How did this get onto the agenda without a violation?
We're on record, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Peter
yeah,
Nakagawa,
okay.
Chief Investigator, Liquor Commission.
Thank you, Peter.
This matter didn't need to have a violation attached to it. Based on the HRS, it was community complaints that the commission has authority at some point to either not renew, revoke, or cancel license. We do have outstanding violations that are pending adjudication. However, this was not based on solely those. These are based on the community complaints that we received from council, from the mayor's office, etc.
Okay, so we feel we feel if there was an issue with this licensee, all you had to do is bring one violation in front of the commission, and we'd have the right to revoke it with the general public
Okay.
present. You know what I mean? Because we felt uncomfortable. We got the mayor here, we got elected officials here, we have a large audience, and then we're getting labeled by defense attorney as being rubber stamps for the mayor and the other politicians.
No, but I think
We
that's
felt
just
uncomfortable.
I think that's just his position.
No,
because I
no,
think-
but I mean, like I'm saying, right? Okay, so do we have pending violations against the market?
We do have pending violations against the market.
Okay, that I think it would have been a better way for us to handle it if we would have had a violation come before us, and the community would have the opportunity to appear, and we could revoke the license right on the spot. Because what happened today is it took no action.
Correct.
Right, so it's like, you know,
I think the process is in the past we do an order to show cause to give him notice, and then after that we file a petition. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna file a petition.
Yeah.
The petition is
That's what-
pending
and
based on the
second
testimony.
thing, the second thing was, which was disturbing was, so HPD had said on the record that they had done undercover work on service to minors.
Correct.
Correct. Well, where is our enforcement?
We are with them. And
You are
now
with
those
them?
are those are
And
pending
those
matters.
are pending violation, thank you. Thank you. Narcy, do you have anything?
So, I was discussing this when our fellow commissioners, actually only a couple of us. The thing about it is, I want to procedurally understand this because in an adjudication matter, there's certain formats and proper etiquettes that go back and forth this way. In this instance, we don't know if we don't know if there's an action that's required or what, and I never seen it on any status. So weekly status is, we should have seen something that it was upcoming to be prepared or something to that extent of what to expect. Because I've been here 5 years, Joe's been here longer. We've never seen something like this or even anything of that nature coming before us. So we think that the more effective matter has always been press on the adjudication matter in which both sides have the opportunity to present its case. In this instance, we facilitated, in my opinion, a political stunt here, basically. News, everybody here, and it in my opinion, it didn't make us look good. We had no control of the situation. We have no factual, it's true. How do we respond to that? I mean, how do we respond to what he's saying? Whereas in an adjudication matter, we have complete control. We have things in front of us to compare to. We have instances, times, dates, witnesses. We have, some type of procedure and dialogue to question. So, I'm not in favor for that type of action unless it's to the total extreme and the last remedy. I think that, like I said, it's a political act, and I don't know what the whole point of it really was.
I beg to differ on the political act of it. That area has been a source of a number of violent crimes. In 2 years, I have 2 dead bodies and a stabbing right in front of there. It tends to be a magnet for that type of illegal activity because it's allowed and condoned by the licensee, in my personal opinion.
Which would be the public's opinion as well. But here's the thing, right, Peter? What for us? What was our benefit? Because seeing it laid out here, and what the news is gonna cut and paste. They're gonna take his statement, and they're gonna talk about all these things that happened. And the question is, the authoritative body for specifically the adjudications or the matters that pertain to us is the ones we should address. If it is a public issue where the public is in danger, that's a separate issue, but we have nothing of evidence in front of us. So in this situation, unless you guys tell me otherwise or convince us otherwise, what was the advantage to this situation tonight, and what do we think is going to be taken away from this?
This opportunity was the licensee to present his case as to why the matter should not go forward. The petition should not go forward. Why the commission should not take into account either the non-renewal or potential revocation of the license. This is his bite at the apple. Now, my intent at a later time, based on the testimony that we received, is to file the petition to not renew or to revoke, based on the statute.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, it was his burden on the order to show cause to persuade us why we should entertain a petition on one of the pending matters?
That's my understanding, yes.
I mean, I
But
find...
how did that happen? I mean, he didn't show us.
Well, he may or may not have known the procedure as well, even if he was represented. But I think, at least for me, the utility is awareness. And I don't know that we're going to get this number of people and interested persons, including our elected officials, to share first-hand, second-hand, third-hand information. But it sounds, I mean, we're not here to clean up downtown. That's not our job.
No.
But if this is a magnet that attracts less desirable people, and we issue a license, I think it's our responsibility to at least have that awareness. And I thought it was, that's my takeaway in terms of utility. I thought we were going to take action, so it seemed like we got the awareness, but then, okay, now what?
So if I may, just so you guys understand, in adjudication and contested case hearings, the public cannot testify. So you would not have the opportunity to hear public testimony in an adjudication situation. So this might have served that purpose to allow the public to have been present in front of you. but I have to look at the petition procedure. But I'm not sure if the public is allowed to testify in that as well.
They have in the past.
They have.
See,
And they're called, I mean, for one thing, they're called as witnesses to testify. But I think in the past, because it's a public meeting and the petition is always agendaed not under adjudications but in a separate section that if someone shows up and indicates the desire to testify, they've been allowed to do so.
But that's in the petition. As an adjudication, they would not be able to. The public would not be able to.
The other thing is, so with this situation, Mr. Harrison didn't show cause. All he did was argue and he didn't show cause.
Correct.
So
Yeah, so-
I mean,
so-
it's like all he did was accuse us of being the mayor's puppets, accusing everybody from the community of
Because
distorting.
that's all he got.
That's all he got, you know. So I mean, you know, this is a hearing to show cause why we should not renew the license, but why he should not renew be allowed to renew the license, right? But I mean,
Oh, so
It's
what I'm
specific
saying,
to not to proceed or not proceed
With
to
the
the petition.
Yeah.
so I agree, he didn't make his burden, so we're
Yeah.
going forward with
But
the petition.
Can I make a statement as well? I would have preferred a different order so that we would have been put on notice that there was such severe problems with this licensee. And like if I had got it, so in one of the documents it said there was 9 violations or something. If I had seen even 2 or 3 of the violations, I would have already gotten an indication that there was an issue with this licensee. And then when something like this, when the a hearing for show cause or a petition came forward, I wouldn't be like surprised. I would understand that there's been issues because I'd seen the violations already, and also that puts the licensee on notice when we're issuing fines and finding them in violation that their license is in trouble. So I didn't have problems with it today. I think it's good to give the opportunity, and of course the mayor and councilwoman, but I would have liked to have more notice for us that there was such severe problems with this licensee.
I think from my part and my standpoint, it's not meant to blindside the commission. My ability to communicate things to the commission outside of the public forum is rather limited. And that's why we're here now, and I'm speaking to you on record as to what's going on. And we needed to bring the people in to explain what's going on in town, why the problem with the licensees are in downtown, and what the ramifications are for the public.
Well, because I had issue with her they kept saying 24-hour service of alcohol, 24/7, but then I haven't seen an adjudication where they're serving after hours. So their accusation is kind of just left hanging in the air with no factual basis. It's a she said, it's a Chulan said, and so I would have preferred to see the violations adjudicated prior to moving forward with a petition. That's all.
In a nutshell, yeah.
were there any violations after hours or before hours?
No, what we had learned and what we observed was they would only sell
certain people
to people that they knew. They would not sell to the police officers. They would not sell to unknowns, basically.
Yeah, so people were going in the store after hours, coming out with packages.
And there is no way that you can then, once they come out with the package, inspect
Our-
if it's alcohol or not.
Quite honestly, my investigators, they're not cops.
Right.
There is a definite safety concern for my investigators out there. The atmospherics of the area are bad. Personally speaking, I've worked down there for years. In patrol, in the crime reduction unit. I'm kind of used to that. My investigators are not, and they should not be.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, just for the record, this is like an extraordinary measure. It's been done before. I think we did it order to show cause. I think the last one we did wasn't it the
Hawaii
golf
Country
course?
That was the petition for revocation.
Oh yeah, obviously, yeah.
The step was direct to the petition.
Yeah, okay.
But we adjudicated the golf course,
Yeah,
so
there
we
was
were
several
aware ahead of time.
adjudications.
So we knew the pattern. They were found, that they were negligent. In this situation, I don't even know what they're negligent of because
Right, the adjudications also gives us
Well, so
precedence,
but I think
that
there
there's problems.
is a mechanism since they are a licensee. When you issue someone an order to show cause, you say these are the things we think is going wrong. You tell us why we should renew your license. Okay. We say these things, we say, well, you never proved anything to us, we never did it, whatever, right? Okay. So if they've made their statement, then we file a petition. That's how because in this situation you have all of these things out there. So it has to be addressed. I mean, sometimes would be to me we'd be negligent if we just waited. So when you have so many things going on, it's one way of doing it because it's a privilege, it's not a right.
But I think that we want to be making those decisions on a factual basis though, not on speculation or hearsay.
But we weren't making a decision. This
Right,
hearing
right.
wasn't here to make a decision.
Right.
This hearing was to give him an opportunity to let him know that something will be coming.
Right,
And
but
then
when
he
I'm
turned
saying
it around
if
because
we are
he's
gonna
his
be
defense
left to
attorney.
making a decision as to whether to renew or revoke a license, I want to make that decision on a factual basis, not on
And you
the
will.
community just doesn't like this guy.
No,
You
we,
know what I
and
mean?
we agree.
Yeah,
Ma'am, we
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and
So
if this
basis will
turns
be
out
there.
to be effective, I mean, we've kind of opened up Pandora's box. We allowed Shillong to come forward. Who's to say it's not going to be the next licensee? If it's not going to be Nicole read them, it's going to be I don't like your guys' events. Now I want to go this route because I've done it before with these guys. So it's like, you know what I mean? It becomes ammo, and yet I feel like we should have better control of that. To very strong discretion to be using that type of action and having news here, the mayor, whoever it may be, you know what I mean? And we went to whatever to that extent, but like I said, I don't recall ever being here and having that type of press coverage or that type of testimonial. I understand it's important, but still the outcome is we haven't done anything about it, right? People bickered, right, not yet, but it remain unsolved, and yet what happens is what's probing around there is they're going to take bits and pieces of what this is, and it's in the jurisdiction of the liquor. Because people are walking around now the streets and doing 24 hours, that's what they're going to pick up on. Our response is, how do we, you know what I mean? What is the response? Meaning, we just wait for an adjudication, or we can't do anything about it. There's other ways I think that we can just go about it, but I just think that strategically these things got to be discussed. We need to be aware. We need to be on the same page as far as what is the issue, right? Which is let's isolate the issue to just liquor events only. We're not talking about whatever else is going on, pee-pee, shishi, doodle, whatever maybe. We're not talking about that stuff. We're talking about strictly this and keep and maintain order.
I agree.
And be in control. Well, you know what I mean? Be in control where, not have surprise looks or what are they talking about, what this, that kind of stuff.
I agree that we should focus solely on the liquor license. And the commission does have the absolute authority by statute to act on the renewal based on community complaints, community health, safety, welfare, that type of thing. This opportunity was for them to present why we should not proceed. In my opinion, I didn't hear anything from them as to why not.
It was argumentative.
So procedurally, what happens now? Do you issue something, Rosie, or how does this ball keep moving?
Administration files a petition
Okay.
for either non-renewal or revocation.
Which would be what?
Back to us
A
again.
non-renewal?
And then he gets his chance.
And that would be more, that would be a situation where we would have to, they would lay out more facts.
So the petition would go through, it would come through, the public would come again, they would see it on the agenda as a, request or something, and the public will then have an opportunity again to voice?
I mean, according to Anna, you said that that the public are allowed to.
They have, it would be, typically it would be listed, now this is, we might have to ask Dwayne whether or not it's agendaed under adjudications and therefore more clearly designating it as contested case hearing, or in the past it's been in under other business.
So I would say that this falls closer to the EJ case and falls under public hearing because it would be a challenge to their license. And just like how a public hearing would be. So I would say that under the Supreme Court case, it would fall under a contested case.
So
Same way how the public would be able to testify, but it's still a challenge to their ability to hold the license.
So do we create a new heading that's not adjudications and not other business? We can talk about this not
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
because you know
yeah.
what, it is 8:20 and this is
Yeah.
like.
But I do wanna say for the record, I would like to see the violations, any pending violations adjudicated before we entertain a petition, so that we can have a record of violations in order to support that petition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I know it's late, but I'm not concerned that this is a slippery slope because it sounds like the most senior members of the commission have never experienced this. I heard 2 deaths in the stabbing. That's extraordinary.
Yes.
So I think it's important, again, the utility, not only our awareness, but I heard 2 more things. If Rosie's correct, we give public participation, and 2, there's going to be a deterrent factor on the licensee, especially if he's represented. I hope his counsel say knock that off if it's occurring, so that there's awareness not only of what happened, but let's not do it again. Stop your business, put up the rolling gate, whatever it takes to protect the public in our licensed establishments. If I can end one more point, I think it's a communication issue. So if the next extraordinary circumstance, and I'm creating some standard here, or whatever you guys want to lay as where are we going to use this tool? I think it's a good tool. I don't want to throw it out the window. Maybe educate us in the prior or 2 prior meetings that, hey, this is coming up in this type of setting on the administrative agenda, and say, here's what we want to do, here's what we expect the folks to do, and maybe guide us with some procedural order. Because when I started going back and forth with Harrison, I'm not sure where we're going to end, and thank goodness the chair stepped in and said this is not a criminal court. So we would appreciate some guidance.
Okay. All right.
Alrighty,
We're good.
Yeah.
Good work, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good work.